How's it going, everybody? Welcome into stream. How are we doing this evening? We able to hear me okay? What does it mean? I thought this said farting. No. No, not particular. Oh, TikTok just gave me a warning saying that I shouldn't remain off screen for that long. 2 whole minutes. That's my bad. What a great start to the stream. Immediately getting in trouble. Well, these things happen sometimes. But hello to everyone. We do have call-ins open. This just in, robotgoat only lasts 2 minutes. Hey, I'm on SSRIs. It takes a lot longer than that. Yeah, TikTok's like, this is, I mean, robot goat has bot in it. That's scary. That's too scary. So yeah, we are doing TikTok calls as well as calls in the Linktree tonight. So if you are over on the YouTubes, then you can call into that link. We've got a call screener ready to go. But it is lovely to see everyone this evening. I took my usual after work nap, a la Salty from Smiling Friends. New headphones? Yes and no. So these were given to me by my mom. She actually sent me her old headphones because I bought new headphones in the same version that I used to have. Well, like a slightly nicer version, but they were shit. So my mom sent me her old headphones because even though they're like slightly used, I don't think she hardly ever wore them. I wear them like every day. Apparently Bose has really been cheaping out on the way they're making headphones lately, and that sucks. Cause I got this very expensive pair of headphones, and I was like, oh, this is such a big purchase. I'm like so excited. And then they got here, and they were like popping and cracking in my ears. And then even though I had turned off voice prompts, it kept giving me voice prompts all the time. And I was already having like a little bit of charging issues. That might have been my charging cord, to be fair, but it's like, this is supposed to be a premium brand. I'm paying premium prices, and these headphones are kind of shitty. So I got a replacement, and the replacement immediately started doing the same thing. And I contact their support, and they're like, oh, have you tried moving it away from any device that could be causing interference, such as Wi-Fi, microwaves, other Bluetooth-enabled devices? And I'm like, where do you want me to go to be able to use these headphones? And they're like, well, have you tried disabling the multi-point connection? Okay, you mean a feature that was like one of the reasons why I like this pair of headphones in particular? Like why I like this particular model? Because I can connect it to multiple places and switch the channel. Anyway, all that to say, I've finally made a big splurge spend on myself, and they ended up sucking, and they won't give me a refund now because I've already done one replacement. So I've got these, and I like these. These are the Quiet Comfort 45s. I used to have the Quiet Comfort 35 Series 2. Guac, thank you for that cardinal. That's so cute. And then I tried upgrading to just the regular QCs and was not super happy with it. So
Hey, how's it going?
how's it going? Can I get your name, age, and pronouns?
Yeah, my name is Albra. Pronouns like I'm a man.
Okay,
Age like
so if chat was gonna refer to you, would they call you a he, a she, a they, or something else?
yeah, he yes. Yeah. So
Gotcha.
what's the issue here with God?
Sorry?
What's the issue here with God?
The issue with God, a-hole.
Yeah, why is that?
Ooh, many reasons. Which flavor of God are you defending?
Um, I'm aware of the question, but I am Muslim, for record.
Okay, well, because like I mostly talk to Christians because I'm a former Christian, so that's primarily who I talk to.
Okay.
Yeah, but for the Muslim God, I can say like letting your prophet marry a child, a-hole move.
Okay. Do you take your manners from your society, or do you take it from a certain reference?
Do I take my manners from society? Uh, I'm not really sure what you mean by that.
Because society can disguide you, or society cannot disguide you. Generally
Yeah.
speaking.
Yeah, so I don't necessarily go by society, but I can obviously look at a child and say, hey, this child is not capable of making decisions like
No
whether or
worries.
not to
We can,
marry
but
an adult man or like whether or not to be able to have like sexual intercourse with an adult man. Like, that's not something that a child can consent to.
okay. So again, like eventually you're taking your manners, like your ethics, your guidelines, from society, or do you take it from your own? Like, what is the point reference of those manners?
When you say society, do you mean by like actual legislation or like the common opinion? What do you mean by society?
Well, it goes both ways. It goes like legal perspective. It goes like societal perspective. It goes like social circle. These type of.
Yeah, I would say neither. Because like in the United States right now, a lot of places have like outlawed abortion. I disagree with outlawing abortion. And there are some places where it's a popular opinion that religion should be a part of legislation, and I disagree with that. Um, so I don't get my
So
morals from common opinion nor from legislation. Generally, I get my morals by whether or not I think a certain action would have a positive or negative impact on the life and well being of other moral agents.
generally, that is good. It is good to recognize that laws or societies in general not necessarily provide the best ideal manners or ethics. Therefore, in my opinion, we should be looking for something that is fixed as opposed to something that is relative or changing. And I cannot find something that is fixed more than a religion, whether it's religion A, B, C, etc., as opposed to a relative changing manners, ethics, guidelines of a society.
I would say religion is not really a good anchor for morality because everyone interprets religion differently, and I've never met like two religious people with the exact same moral values.
Perhaps, but in the end, there is a point of reference within each religion. Sorry, within each religion, there is a point of reference where people can say, okay, this is right, or this is wrong, or this is somewhat
Yeah,
right or
and
somewhat wrong.
my point of reference is whether or not a certain action would have a positive or negative impact on a person's life and well-being.
But that is kinda will not stand the test of time. Hypothetically, should we give you multiple scenarios? Within those multiple hypothetical scenarios, you will find like some contradiction you will not be able to answer. For example, let's say that you're saying, okay, if it's about positivity and well-being, well, let's say that the two parties are agreeing that this is a well-being, regardless whether if it's well-being or not. But two parties are agreeing that is a well-being for their, it is good. So how can you tell them they are wrong?
I'm not sure what you mean by that. What's the problem? What are you describing? So far, the only
I,
situation that you've given me is there's a situation and two people agree something is good.
yeah, so you're saying that by default, like child marriage is wrong. How about if there is a child and there is a grown individual, either man or woman, and the child either a man or woman, and both of them are saying that they are right? How can you convince them they're
Well,
wrong?
that's easy because again, I'm not basing my morality off of like other opinion. So again, I would know that a child does not have the cognitive ability to make the decisions such as marrying or having sex with an adult. So that is going to be a negative impact on that child's life. Um, so it
So
doesn't matter
what would you say to the child?
if the child is convinced that it's good,
It
That
is,
does
yes.
not matter because the child is not capable of grasping the full severity of the situation.
Okay, so in that situation, you are going to take manners into your own hands because the child is like mentally incompetent.
Well, I would say ultimately it's the parent's decision, not mine. I would strongly advise against it, but I don't necessarily have control over what parents decide for their children. I think it's disgusting. I don't think it should be legal for children to get married. But if it's in a place where it is technically legal, I don't know what recourse I would have to stop that other than advising them against it.
So advising against it will be
What
only
what
that,
would
you know,
what would
say
you do?
I would refer it to a religion, regardless of what type of religion that is,
Okay, but
according to the
what good does
scenario.
referring to religion do? Is referring to religion going to stop that marriage from happening?
No, I'm going to refer it to religion
If
text, whether
anything,
that religion.
referring to your religion would encourage those who want to marry
Of
children.
course, for sure, yes.
So that's not good.
Again, so commands I see them from God, not from myself.
Gotcha. So I just want to be clear, you're advocating for adults to be able to marry children.
I advocate to follow God, however, not necessarily every word, but in general, I advocate to follow
But
God
you're
and worship Him.
specifically advocating to follow God in the idea that adults should be able to marry children.
No, I don't like it, but should God say that, I will advocate for everything God says. I do not take my moral.
Does God advocate for that if Muhammad married a child?
God advocate for many things you will not like, for sure.
Okay, yeah, so
This
I'm
is just one of them that
clarifying.
you will like.
Does God advocate for that?
God advocate for many things. Do you want me to list them for
Is
you?
this one of them? Is this particular thing that we are currently
One of
talking
many.
about one of them?
One of many, yes, one
So
of many.
so yes, it is something that God advocates for. An adult marrying a child.
You do not wish my God. You do not wish people to follow God who commands things that do not like.
I'm just clarifying if whether or not this is something that God advocates for, an adult marrying a child.
Let's say there is a God advocating for things that you do not like. You do
It's
not
not
wish
about
people
whether or
to
not I
follow that
like it,
God.
Albra. I'm trying to confirm right now whether or not, in your opinion, your God advocates for an adult marrying a child.
My God advocate for many things that you dislike. Many, many, many
Albra,
things.
if you do not answer my question directly, I'm going to move on to the next guest. Does the God that
No,
you're
no, I
referring
follow
to
God. You
advocate
follow society.
for an adult marrying a child? Answer that question or you'll be leaving my stream.
I don't care about your society. I follow God as it is.
Okay, well, it's pretty apparent to everybody here that you condone child marriage, which is pretty disgusting. So have an evening.
I condone worship.
I gave you so many chances to say that you don't condone that, Albra. So if you're given that many opportunities and you don't take it, um, you've already answered the question for us. So what a way to start. I just didn't feel the urge to continue talking to someone who is cool with adults marrying children and who was trying to argue for it. Because at first I was like, oh, he's just trying to point out like this perceived flaw in my moral system. And then I realized, no, he actually thinks that this is right um, and wants to defend this. Um, so, not great. Hey there, how's it going?
Oh, am I on?
You are. Can I get your name, age,
Okay,
and
sorry,
pronouns?
sorry. I had to turn my volume up.
No worries.
Hi, I am a constituent and a someone who believes in the Church of Subgenius. Is this something that you have ever heard of or possibly subscribed to?
Well, I'm going to slow you down a little bit because I asked for your name, your age, and your pronouns.
Oh, I apologize. My name is Tony Gnosis. I am 42 years old. I am he, they, them, or whatever you want to call me. I have no issue with that.
Okay.
And uh, on the topic of religion, I grew up in a Catholic household that was both Irish and Roman Catholic. So it was, something that was to be mourned, which I never agreed with when I was a child. So as I strayed away from these things, I found through my research on my own, and I'm no doctor or anything like that, that all of it kind of seemed the same and to be, in a weird way, a system of control. And then I started researching on that because I was like, well, there's no way this could have just started as that. And lo and behold, I discovered certain things that led me to certain facts that it seems like, yeah, certain people could use this as a system of control, and to what degree. And I feel that a lot of us are feeling that right now on this planet as a whole. And I think that a lot of the times these divisions are there on purpose, even though we're all part of the same collective consciousness, if that makes any sense. If I don't sound crazy. And I guess if I do, what a perfect place for it other than TikTok. But uh, I'm also steeped in the arts. And one of the things in my ventures of art is discovering certain ideologies that I thought were kind of quirky and kind of funny and were almost anti-religion that have become religions. Hence the Church of Subgenius, which started out as an artist collective in South Texas in the 70s. And they created an entire following just on the basis that people told them there's no way that you could just start a religion. And they did it in jest. I don't think they meant to cause any troubles, and they still don't. It's a bunch of fun-loving hippies and artists and creative types, and it's fun and it's campy and it's kitschy. But I fail to see the difference between past religions throughout history and their art, and say that form of current art that people see as a religion that they created themselves as well, since it takes, I guess, like a human construct to create like an ideology. uh, I guess I don't know if it's so much given to us as it is something that we choose to recognize and put into places. And I'm going to stop talking from there and let you take it, because I feel like I've been running the whole conversation.
Yeah, so are you a theist?
I don't know what I am, to be honest with you. I can't really pinpoint it. I've experienced things that have made me believe in things definitely greater than me. I have also experienced things that are so humdrum that it made me feel that maybe there isn't more to it. But I also do believe that there is definitely something bigger than just us and our consciousness that we're able to perceive. I guess is, I don't know. That's the simplest way I can put it.
Okay, it's just I guess I'm wondering why you stopped by if you don't have a god to defend.
Well, you know what caught me as an artist? I was just kind of flipping through TikTok. I just got off of my shift. I'm a chef, and I saw this "Why is God an asshole?" And I thought that that was particularly interesting. So I thought I'd join the conversation and find out.
Well, it's me asking other people, not me answering that. This isn't a call-in show where I want
Oh,
people to call in and ask me the question above my head.
oh, okay. I apologize. Yeah, I don't understand the format. Like this, I'm a first timer. I took it very literally because I'm pretty neurodivergent. So I just took it very literally and thought it was pretty interesting. And I didn't think that you would even answer me. So I was just kind of reading the comments and seeing why God is such an asshole from everyone else.
A lot of
um,
reasons, but if that's
yeah,
what you're here for, I am gonna go ahead and just let you go for now.
totally understandable.
All right, have a good one, Tony. Yeah, I gotta do it.
Well, you're just talking and talking and talking and yapping and saying absolutely nothing. So I gotta ask you, why'd you stop by when you got nothing to offer? Baby, gotta know why'd you stop by? You got no substance to give. Baby, why'd you buy
I was like, is that too mean? But for the 3-minute monologue, I gotta give you that one, Tony. You're welcome to hang out. Appreciate you coming up. What are you going to do? Is this an accidental request, or are you here to torment me again?
I was hoping to hi. I was hoping to respond to the background.
Oh no.
I find it troubling. Like, why is God an a-hole? I think part of why God is an a-hole is there seems to be an inordinate quantity of references, allusions to, and discussions regarding genitals in the Bible, and that's like very disturbing to me. And whereas there seems to be quite a bit of discussion with that in the Bible, I will say that one part of the Bible that I do appreciate is the concern with, like gonadal freshness. Would you agree?
I'm trying to get ahead of you, and I don't know where the punchline's going.
There's no punchline. I just, for all the discussion of genitals in the Bible that is so objectionable, I would say that I'm a proponent not just of one, but of both testaments.
Every time. I keep trying to figure out where it's gonna go. I'm like, I gotta figure out what the punchline's gonna be this time, and I've yet to do it. I've yet to get it before. I'll get it eventually. Someday I'll see the punchline before it gets told. And that is, you can count on that. We've got a lot of people in YouTube chat who are upset, but I don't see anyone trying to call in. Gonad freshness. Listen, we're all about the gonadal freshness over here at the Robot Goat channel. We do our best to make sure that everyone's gonads remain just mint condition. Never used. It does say in the Old Testament that priests are supposed to have completely perfect ball sacks. They can't have any cuts on those sacks. Did the goat get named yet? No, not really. I had a couple of suggestions. Haven't decided on one yet, or haven't gotten enough to do a poll. So we shall see. Who is inspecting those sacks for perfection? Oh, you know. You know. You wish my live was a little louder? Just turn the volume up. I can't do this again. I can't do this again. Please. Why does it look like a slightly used voodoo doll? I think it looks like a plushie. Honestly, this could be a Jellycat. You know? I for those who don't know, I am very much a stuffed animal aficionado. And this very much reminds me of a Jellycat design, specifically the bashful body shape, where it's just kind of eggplant shaped. I love that it looks so droopy. I love it. My friend made this for me. They are art.bees on TikTok. And I think it is adorable. I love it. They just gave me the vector so I can recolor it however I want. So I decided to color it like this. I could name it G, spelled Gee, because I'm T. I don't know. I heard one person suggested Tibsy, and I do kind of think that's cute. I don't know. I'm seeing Steve from multiple people. Have a little more whimsy than that, I beg of you. Sorry, it's just, I don't know. I now associate Steve with the Minecraft movie because when I worked as an educator, all the kids were obsessed with the Minecraft movie. So anytime the word Steve was mentioned, it was like, oh, Minecraft Steve, Flint and Steel. It was rough being an educator when 6-7 was first becoming a thing. Rough, scary times. You think of Steve Harrington. I only watched the first season of Stranger Things. Which it seems like was a good move because I didn't have that sunk cost fallacy by the time I got to that last season. You're a teacher? No, not currently. I worked as an educator at a zoo for a while. It was a seasonal position. But yeah, a bunch of kids who were just like, Minecraft, everything is Steve. Oh, and K-pop Demon Hunters. They were all huge fans of K-pop Demon Hunters. That's how it goes. Thank you to Nova Strike Rain saying God is an a-hole, keep up the good work in a super chat over on YouTube. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Nova. God is an a-hole. Seems like adding you with the sunk cost fallacy might have been a bit of bullying. Look, all I know is anyone that I know who was like invested in Stranger Things was very disappointed by the way that it ended, and I had no skin in that game because I had checked out when they were still like 11 years old. Was I called Mix Robot Goat? No, I had them call me Coach. That's my gender neutral title. Because I also was a swim coach at one point, so I just took it from there. I'm used to being called Coach, so I was Coach T. Woohoo! Yeah, I heard some pretty rough things about season 5 of Stranger Things. Particularly all the times where they were like doing analogies where it's like, okay, so this is me, and this is you, and this is a house. Like, that would have driven me crazy. You go by Champ personally. Hey, Champ. I don't know what this one comment on YouTube is trying to say. Hey, Sunny, how's it going? You want to get into Christianity? Any tips? Don't. Just don't do that. God always knows what he's doing. Just because we don't always understand doesn't mean he's wrong. I mean, you're presupposing that he knows what he's doing. And if you do that, then you'll contextualize anything he does with like, oh, well, he knows what he's doing and it must be right because God is perfect. But if you're already assuming that to be the case, it's gonna color your judgment of any action that God takes. So, you like Christianity? It's not great. There's slavery, there's genocide, like slaughtering babies in particular. There's so much. There's having women raped as punishment. There's God commanding them to take child sex slaves. It's just not great. I would avoid it if you can. You know? Just get out while you can. Or before you're in, I guess, is the best time to get out. You think I'm taking it all out of context? Context, you say? Oh, we have a guest request. Sorry, guys.
Peace
Hello.
be upon you.
Leaf be upon you. Can I get your name, age, and pronouns?
I am Yazoo. I am a man, and I am 40 something.
All right, so if chat, we're going to refer to you. Would they call you a he, she, they, or something else?
Oh, he.
All right. So, why is God an a-hole?
Which God?
Well, I'm going to assume from the way that you came in that you follow Islam. Is that correct?
Incorrect.
Incorrect. Okay.
I'm a Natsuri.
Okay. Would you like to elaborate?
Like I believe in the Son of God.
Would you like to elaborate?
God is love.
Okay, so it's clearly the answer to would you like to elaborate is no, because every time I ask you, follow it up with the vaguest statement I've ever heard. Who do you believe is the Son of God?
Yahushua HaMashiach.
Gesundheit.
Are you saying that, that particular God is an asshole? Yeah.
Well, I think any god would be an asshole.
You think love is an asshole?
I don't think love would be a god. Love is not an agent.
Agent? Where do you get that from?
For something to be a god, it would need to be an agent.
According to who or what?
What's the use in defining it as a god if it has no agency?
What the fuck is agency?
Okay, well, this is going to be a tough conversation.
It
Basically,
shouldn't be.
when I'm saying agency, I mean like having a will, existing as a being. If your god is just the abstract concept of love, it doesn't have a mind, it doesn't have any goals, it doesn't have a will, then what's the purpose in defining it as a god?
So God actually means relative direction. It comes from the Afro-Asiatic word El. El is Aleph Lamed. Aleph represents relativity. Lamed represents direction. So in a sense, there are plenty of gods. There are plenty of relative directions.
Yeah, so
Love is one
again,
of those.
if you're talking about a supposed god that doesn't have any sort of agency, that has no will or no mind, what is the point of defining it as a god? Because I agree that the concept of love exists. I do not agree that love is a god.
I'm with you. You just have like somebody else's definition of God. That's all that's going on here.
Okay, so again, if your idea of God is just any concept that exists is God, that's a useless definition of God. Then an infinite number of gods exists.
There's an infinite number of relative directions that exist. So
Okay.
yeah.
So you
Maybe
think
you're
that
talking
there's an
about
infinite number of gods, none of them have any sort of will or agency.
So my God does. That's why I was saying, which God are you talking about?
Let me ask you this. Would what you're calling God want to be called a god?
Before you actually know, in a sense, what my God is, you would call him God.
Would what you're calling God want to be called God?
I don't think so, because that's like a made up English American term.
You're very difficult to have a conversation with because you don't track anything that I'm saying. You don't understand very basic terms when we're talking about like theism or lack thereof. And when I ask you direct questions, you don't give me direct answers.
I apologize. I'm sorry. I just know what God actually means, and I know most people in the West. Most people in the West they don't know what it actually means. God is a word, just like president is a word. Like your president could be a squirrel. It could be
It's
greed.
not. We do have a president in the United States, and it's not a squirrel. I almost wish it were. Actually, I do wish it were. Because at least a squirrel is, like, honest about shitting itself, you know?
I'm with you, but I'm just saying that president is a title, like how God is a title. Like this is not somebody's name or something.
Yeah, but there are qualifications to be president of something.
Sure,
You
and
can't
there's
just declare anything that you want a president, so likewise, you cannot just declare anything that you want God. There are
Well, you can't.
qualifications that must be met.
Right, and the qualifications for God, you kind of made those up.
So you don't think that a God has to have any sort of will or mind?
No, it doesn't have to have that.
It doesn't have to have a mind.
It doesn't have to. Mind does, but a God doesn't have to have a mind.
A God does not have to have a mind.
No, a God is just a relative direction, is what I keep telling you.
Okay, so north is a God.
Yes, it is.
That's completely nonsensical.
If you say so. Some people desire to go north for whatever reason.
That does not make it a God.
It's well, according to your definition, it's not. According to my definition, it is.
According to any coherent definition of God.
I'm with you.
No, I don't think you are.
No, I understand. I understand exactly where you're coming from.
I think you're north, not with me.
No, in a sense, I just know that in a sense you're not like, you have someone else's definition of God. You don't have the original definition of God. Like this is all that's happening here.
The original you think the original definition of God is relative direction?
Yeah, it's two actual Hebrew letters. The first one is Aleph, which represents relativity, and Lamed is the second one. When these things were pictures, you can see exactly what it's talking about. Aleph is relativity, Lamed is direction. Or any synonym that you can say. Like you don't even have to say relative direction. You can say ancestor leader. You could say any synonym of relative direction that would still work. Because it's a universal law.
It's a universal law?
Yeah.
Universal laws wouldn't apply to a specific language.
Sure they do. Mathematics.
No. What I'm saying is, if you're talking about something in a specific language, that would not be a universal law.
Sure it is. You're just not, in a sense, you're just not, like I said, you're not Afro-Asiatic, so like you don't understand.
If it's only in one particular language, it's not universal.
Sure it is. Mathematics is in every language and it is universal.
But that's the opposite of what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about something that is universal being put into different languages. You're talking about something in one specific language and claiming that it is universal.
No, I'm not.
It's the inverse. You said it's a universal law despite the fact that it only is in one language.
No, I didn't. You said that.
Huh?
You said that it's only in one language. I didn't say that. I can name two languages that it actually is in. Canaanite language and Yehudi language.
Is it in Italian?
No.
Then it's not universal.
But math is.
We're not talking about
math.
math.
Can you count in Italian?
Am I having a stroke?
Can you count in Italian?
You're not talking about math.
Why do you figure I'm not talking about math?
Are you sent here to, like, drive me to, like, a psychotic break? What is happening?
I hope not.
Because that's just... I do not understand how you are following this course of the I don't even know if you're following any sort of course of conversation. Because you were making a very specific claim about a language, and you said it was universal. I disagree that it's universal because it's about a specific language. But you were not talking about math. You're talking about the meaning of a particular word.
Now I have to show you that
that's
it's math.
Not math.
Once I show you that it's math, then you'll understand. But you haven't asked that question yet because you're like busy.
Why the fuck would I ask if that is math?
Well, I mean, I
If
mentioned
I
that it's
tell
math.
you that azul means blue in Spanish, is your next question going to be, well, is that math?
Exactly. I'm gonna say is that in a sense, is it true?
That
Which
would be
is
your
it
next
math?
question?
Well, not exactly. I would say is that true? Is what I would say, and that's math. If something is true.
No, it is. No.
Okie dokie. So the way, in a sense, these formulas, in a sense,
Okie
happen.
dokie. Fuck you. You can't say shit like that and then just okie dokie. You can't just okie dokie. You really.
Well, I'm just trying to show you how it's math. Anything that's true, you can get a formula for it.
Anything that's true, you can get a formula for.
Yes.
No.
Okay. Can you name me something true that you can't get a formula for?
I'm sitting down.
Okie dokie. So that's true, and there is a formula for that. You bend your knees, you put your tush behind you, and it will equal you sitting down. You want to try again?
Yeah, he's gone. Um. What? Well, I'm honored to be here with you guys when you all learned the formula for sitting down. And it is putting your tush behind you plus bending your knees equals sitting down. Oh no. Damn. Oh boy. That. I really felt like I was losing it. Everything is math. Fucking everything is math, apparently. There's a formula for everything. Um, it involves putting your tush behind you. I like putting my ass in the front, personally. Um, I'm so glad that we were all here to witness that, because otherwise I wouldn't have believed that it happened. I'm not letting you back up. No, no, fuck no. Like, yeah, I see that you're in request. No. Listen, I can't up the dosage of my meds again. I can't do that right now. So I'm gonna have to decline. I don't want to know what other formulas you have. I really don't. I. That's just wild. Stop requesting, please. I've told you I'm not letting you back up. Don't be another man who doesn't understand consent.
Okay, you're good. You're good.
It looks like you might be another man who doesn't understand consent.
But you're good for now. I'm gonna go ahead and send you over to the queue and get you queued up in there. It might be a minute before you get brought in, so you have some time.
Yep, alright. That is a block, my friend.
All right, but all right, we'll get you transferred over.
Once men show that they're just willing to consistently violate my boundaries and consent, there's no place for them in my stream. Bye! how can we explain our existence without attributing it to a powerful force like God? Why would we need to have God to explain our existence? Yeah, that is Rat Soup in the background. He's doing my screening. Goodness. And it looks like we do have someone. All right, so I am gonna bring in our next guest. Hey there, Rob. You able to hear me?
Hello.
Hey there. So, do you have headphones or something you can put in to get rid of that echo a little bit?
Honestly, I don't. Am I still echoing?
When I talk, it's just I hear myself. I'm not hearing it at the present moment, so maybe it's a little bit better now.
Alright.
So, Rob, I have here that you are a Christian-leaning theist. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. So maybe you can tell me, why is God an a-hole?
I think I get where you're at with a lot of Old Testament verses,
Okay.
if I may suppose.
Some of them are Old Testament, sure. I take a crack at the New Testament every now and then. Rob?
Wait. Sorry. Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, I'm able to hear you.
All right. So why is God an a-hole?
I disagree with you. That's obviously why I'm up here, but I don't. I believe that New Testament wise, we could get into Old Testament, but New Testament wise, I don't think there is signs of God being an asshole or a-hole. Sorry.
Well, let me ask you this. Is it the same God in the Old and New Testament?
Yes.
Yeah, so all the shitty things that the God does in the Old Testament that's the actions of the God of the New Testament as well?
Yes.
So why then would I disregard the Old Testament if it's the same God?
The New Covenant.
So I'm not necessarily worried about like the covenant and what rules we're expected to abide by. Even though I
Well,
would
then
argue against that.
that's confusing for me, as someone who follows the New Covenant.
Right, but my problem is with the God who claims to be morally perfect, but also tells the Israelites to take little girls as sex slaves, who claims to be morally perfect but constantly condones slavery, instructs them on how they're allowed to beat their slaves, on how they are allowed to sell and keep certain slaves. The God who specifically commanded the Amalekite infants and children to be slain.
All right, so which one would you want to start at?
Let's start with Numbers 31, where God says that they're to slay the Midianites, except for the virgin girls, whom they are to keep for themselves.
All right, can I tell you the argument that I've heard and that I agree with so far?
Okay.
All right, so I'd say if there's a group of individuals who are practicing things such as child sacrifice, child rape, and this is completely permissible in their community, I think it is plausible to say, hey, everyone who has been sexually abused, they must be they must be wiped out. Send them to God to judge them.
Oh, Rob just disappeared. He just vanished. But also those who have been, those who were the victims were supposed to be. Anyway, that was strange and gross. Rob, I don't know where you went. Okay. Hey there, how's it going?
Hey, hold on. Give me a second. It's going all right.
What is your profile picture?
This is so the black cat was trying to eat out of the dish, and my orange one decided to just crawl on top of him
Okay.
to
I'm like,
reach the
this.
dish.
It's
So
like an unholy amalgamation of fur.
yeah,
Thank you for
he's
clearing that up. Uh,
their greed is sickening.
oh fuck. All right. Well, can I get your name, age, and pronouns, please?
Yeah, I'm Matt. I am 21, and I go by he/him.
All right. What's your religion or lack thereof?
Um, I for a majority of my life I was Jehovah Witness, and then I became Pentecostal, and I'm now agnostic.
So you are not currently a believer.
No.
All right. I do only take agnostics and atheists on Sundays for
Oh,
ass.
okay.
For ass.
Okay, I read the title wrong then.
No worries. I hope you have a good rest of your evening. Thank you for coming up.
Yeah,
and
you
thank you for
too.
showing us your cats. But hey, good on you for getting out of other cults. I was so worried you're about to like end up still in a cult. I was about to feel really sad. Like, yeah, I left Jehovah's Witness and then into Pentecostal, and now I'm a Scientologist. You know, I was so worried that's where we were going. So I am glad that that's not where we went. Ooh-wee. Hopefully volume should be adjusted over on YouTube now. I'm trying to get a feel for it. It did sound like we had someone calling in. Uh-huh. This might be... Rob is back. Hey,
What
Rob.
up?
Hey, you vanished on me. What happened?
Yeah, sorry, I don't know. I guess something's up with my internet or something.
All right, so you were saying something about how victims of abuse should be killed?
I think that's a little dramatic take, but
That's what you said.
I'll further explain my point. All right.
Okay.
Death to us humans can seem like this dramatic, terrible, awful things. When you take into account the New Testament, which I'll get to that later. We don't got to talk about that yet, but
okay.
When we talk about quote unquote killing people that are victims of abuse, death is not, to us Christians, that is not life. You can be fully breathing, living, and acting as a human and be dead in your soul.
So I gotta clarify for you, Rob. Again,
Okay.
in this story, they specifically kept the virgin little girls as sex slaves. They did not kill
sex
them.
Slaves. No.
Yes.
Sorry, I'd like to correct you there. It's wives. Jewish culture was strictly monogamous. And do you know the age that?
Hold on, I'm sorry. Jewish culture was strictly monogamous.
Yes.
Okay. So what?
Under God's law.
Under God's law. Gotcha.
Yes.
So, who did David marry?
Oh, David didn't follow God's law. That's actually the whole point of David as a prophet, is that he strayed away from God's law.
Him straying away from God's law was not in having multiple wives.
Yeah, you're not supposed to have multiple wives under God's law.
Where does it say that?
In the one how it describes Adam and Eve as one flesh, them coming together and being one flesh.
Okay, where does it say that you cannot have multiple wives?
Here, let me pull up a verse for you.
Yeah, because it doesn't. But also, even if you want to say,
could I pull up a whatever? Sorry, you keep talking.
But even if you want to say that these little girls were not taken as sex slaves, they were taken as wives. They're still forcing children to have sex with them.
Do you know the Jewish age for marriage?
Usually 12 and a half to 16.
Yes. So these young women who have not been with any man
12-year-olds
are
and
getting
below-
married
like-
to who? To who?
to men.
To other 12-year-olds.
Where does it say that?
That's-
It specifically tells them that they can take them in battle. You think the 12-year-olds are in battle?
That doesn't mean that the soldiers themselves are marrying the girls in particular.
In
If you wanna get
Deuteronomy
into, like,
21,
Islam
it
or something like that, that is
in
not what the
Deuteronomy
Bible is doing.
21, it instructs them on how to take war brides. So why would God tell them to take them for themselves if God actually meant take them for other little boys you know? What the fuck?
You could argue that it means anything. You're obviously trying to push like that grown men were rushing in to marry these little 12-year-old girls.
Because
And
that's what the text says. The text
And-
is God
and-
telling
sorry.
these grown men,
Here's
take
my
the
rebuttal.
girls
Here's my rebuttal.
for yourselves.
And he speaks of Israel as a nation as a whole, but that's a whole different point. I don't know if you fully get the theology on that. But okay, let me further explain, all right?
So did he mean for women to marry these girls?
No, he meant Israel, the nation, for ourselves. This is like the whole entire
Yeah, but
basis
who
of
is he giving permission to marry these girls?
the Israelites.
Which Israelites?
I guess any of the Israelites.
Cool.
As
So
long as-
that
as long as
includes
it is
adult
a
men.
faithful, non-rapey marriage. You know, what I mean, God already doesn't permit rape.
Yeah, God forbid my war bride feels that she's being graped when I force her to have sex with me for the rest of her life.
All right, you could hold that like kind of cruel view on it, but that is not God's aspect for marriage. If
That's
humans
the
do that-
reality. That's in Deuteronomy 21. In Deuteronomy 21, when it tells them how to take war brides, it specifically tells them that after they're allowed to mourn their family for 30 days, they can have sex with them and decide whether or not they want to keep them as a wife or let them go.
And guess what? You know what it also says? You cannot rape a woman.
It does not
So
say
this
that.
has to be consensual. Back then,
No, it
imagine
does.
coming from a
Rob, there's
Sorry,
nowhere
sorry,
in the
what?
Bible where it says you cannot grape a woman.
Yes, there is.
Where?
All right, let me. Sorry, you're having me jump all over the place. Could you I don't know, keep talking. Let me pull up a verse real quick, please.
Nova sent another super chat with Exodus 21:7. If a man sells his daughter as a servant, she is not to go free as the male servants do. Yeah, so the female Israelites didn't get to go free after the end of their like term or the year of Jubilee. That's not something that happened to them. They were kept permanently. And in addition, it talks about what to do if they take other wives. God, within his laws, specifies that you are not supposed to diminish the treatment of the women slaves that you take to be your wife when you take another wife. So in fact, God's law specifically accounts for men having multiple wives. It never forbids men from having multiple wives.
Okay, and here I'm gonna make this point on the Bible. The Bible is an almighty, all-righteous God dealing with a tribe of disgusting, evil people.
Okay, that's cool. So
And-
where does God say in his law that you cannot grape a woman?
All right. Sorry, you're jumping all over the place.
I was stalling for time
But-
for you to find that specific thing, Rob.
Okay. Sorry, I started searching up the second, and blah, 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 third. All right. Thanks for being patient.
No worries. I'm just gonna interact
Uh,
a little bit with
Oh,
chat.
okay, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
What- Thank you. Deuteronomy 22, 25 through 27.
Read that for me.
Let me pull it up. Hold on. Let me get a Hebrew translation going.
Game Master Flash says, "Why is God like that? Don't be like that, God. He's not even real. Twist him into pretzels, robot goat." Thank you, Game Master Flash. I love pretzels. What a nice, tasty, salty snack.
It's pretty good. Love pretzels too. Yeah, I only like them because of the cheese, though. It's really
Because of
kinda the only-
cheese, I just like plain like little twists or pretzel sticks. Love me a good pretzel.
You know, all right. Sorry, I got it right here.
Okay, read it out for me.
Let me read this. Scroll it. It says, but if out in the country a man happens to meet a young woman pledged to be married and rapes her, only the man who has done this shall die.
Yeah, it's because she's pledged to be married. What happens if she's not pledged to be married?
If a man happens to meet... pledged to be married. Sorry. Let me scroll real quick.
It's in the same chapter.
Is it, could you point it out for me?
Yep, I'll pull it up.
You're very respectful. I'm really enjoying this.
Well, I appreciate you saying so. I match energies. So... So in Deuteronomy 22, in verse 20... Yeah, 28. If a man meets a virgin who is not engaged and seizes her and lies with her, and they are discovered, the man who lay with her shall give 50 shekels of silver to the young woman's father, and she shall become his wife. Because he violated her, he shall not be permitted to divorce her as long as he lives.
Is this King James?
No, I'm reading from the NRSVUE.
NRS. Here, let me get on the same translation. NRS. What?
NRSVUE. It's the new revised version, updated. Sorry, new revised standard version, updated edition.
Okay.
It's a lot of. It's a long
Who's
acronym.
not engaged and seizes her, lies with her, and they are discovered. Huh.
Yeah. So the distinction here is
Mine
whether or
says
not
seizes her. Oh, sorry.
So the distinction here is whether or not the woman is already engaged or belongs to another man. At this point in time, women are seen as the property of the men who own them. So violations against those men is what is being punished here. So in the case that someone lies with, if you notice, even in the previous verses that we just read, it again doesn't say grape, it says seizes her and lies with her, even though we know this to mean grape. The punishment is for violating the property of the man. So because she is engaged and already belongs to her future husband, that is why he is being punished. If she is not yet engaged, you just pay a fee or a bride price to her father, and then she becomes your wife, and you cannot divorce her. So if he were to grape a woman, all he would do is pay the bride price to her father, and then he gets to keep her for the rest of their lives.
Dang, yeah, that's actually a very valid reading of this verse. Wow, thanks for pointing this out.
Yeah, happy to do so.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm a Christian-leaning theist, just because I don't know the New Testament. I'd highly recommend it. Still, even with like this Old Testament stuff.
I get a lot of people are more drawn to the New Testament because it seems like a more palatable version of this God. But the New Testament is also where we see the introduction of the idea of hell, specifically like there being eternal conscious torment after death. So the idea of like people being cast into the lake of fire and being like eternally tormented is not really present in the Old Testament, but it is in the New Testament. So while there are some aspects that people love to read through and say, oh look, it was all peace and love, if you read into some of the more like the more detailed theology, I would say it's almost a more disturbing picture.
I would have a question then. like, if you were to have like some sort of theology, or like, you know, uh, would you want like people like Jeffrey Epstein to be destroyed forever? You know, like
I
eternal
wouldn't want
damnation.
them. I would not want them to be eternally punished for a finite number of crimes under any circumstances.
Really? Huh. Well,
I just I
that's
think it's
where I like.
unjust. I obviously I
Mm,
think that what old Jeffrey did was fucking horrible, and he
mm.
deserves he would deserve some form of punishment for what he has done. But if I were claiming to be an all merciful God, I would have to forgive him. Um, but again, like the biggest problem is eternal torment,
Mm. I
right?
don't know.
Because
I guess that doesn't
but
make
we
me
live
feel bad
finite
for bad
lives.
people.
Well,
Yeah, but I
the
mean, our
problem is
souls are infinite,
Christianity.
no?
Christianity says that everyone is a bad person, and the only way that we gain forgiveness is through Jesus. So by those standards, me, who has never done anything like what Jeffrey does, we're gonna be side by side getting flayed by some demons. That doesn't seem super just to me. By the standards of the Bible, Anne Frank is in hell alongside Hitler.
I'd actually kind of disagree with that. There is very much nuance, especially in like deep Catholic beliefs about like we truly do not know what God is going to do, who God is going to forgive, because you you can proclaim like, oh, it's the Bible's very strict on how you get to heaven, blah blah blah. The thief on the cross, he is written into the New Testament for a reason. God God is all forgiving and all loving. Like the the thief on the cross was forgiven, boom, just like that.
Right, but that's because Jesus is supposed to be the only way that one can get to heaven. So through asking Jesus, that's how he got to heaven. Anne Frank was Jewish. We have no reason to believe
And
that she ever considered Christ to be her savior. And Jesus reiterates so many times, hey, the only way to the Father, the only way to paradise is through me. So she, by not being a believer in Jesus, would be in hell.
no, that's like Paul. I don't know if you like the validity of Paul, but Paul states that those who do not know of Christ, which this was a little Jewish woman in the Holocaust era, so I'm guessing she didn't, read that much New Testament. If she didn't know of Christ, she would be judged by her works. And her works were not sinful or evil. She was a persecuted young woman. Who knows what God did with her soul? I don't
So
know.
so I'll tell you that's a very uncommon interpretation.
It's
And
actually
it's
not. That's a Catholic
well
held belief. That's
Well,
old
here's the
church.
difficult thing because there is a verse that directly says we're saved by faith, not by works, and another verse that says we are saved depending on our works.
We are
Um,
judged by our works.
right,
Like
and that
if
and the
you
judgment
died
would
and
be
I believe if you died, you said you haven't done anything mean or bad, right?
well. I'm sure I've done things that the Bible like I'm a queer person. I'm not
Hmm.
heterosexual. By biblical standards, is that bad?
I think that like 99.99% of stuff is quote unquote sinful, not necessarily like bad, but I'd say like yeah, like
So if my works
being
are
a
like looking
homosexual
at
or
hot
whatever.
babes,
Yeah, exactly. Like
but who am
exactly.
I?
So like
But who am I hurting by like
you're hurting your soul.
my soul?
Yeah, I know it's deep, but that's the seriousness of it. You're hurting yourself
I hurt
by looking
myself.
at a hot
Okay,
babe. You're
but
I don't know.
gotcha. By looking at a hot babe. So when I went to go see They Will Kill You, and the entire time I was just like, oh, I had a crush on this performer when she played Domino in Deadpool 2, and she's even hotter in this movie. I was hurting my soul?
Yeah. In my theology, yeah.
That sounds like no
I
fun.
think falling into kind of like Buddhism a little. I'm into the theist stuff.
Have you tried Buddhism?
Yeah. It's all about denying your flesh and
No,
falling into
Buddhism isn't.
temptation. Sorry, what was that?
Buddhism isn't.
Oh, sorry, Buddhism. Sorry, I have a.
No,
Sorry,
I'm
I have
talking
like
about something different.
Oh, Buddhism? What is that?
I think you can have a guess.
Is it like I'm not even.
One's in chat if you're considering joining Buddhism.
Is Buddhism like some freak stuff? Oh my gosh, that sounds scary.
Hey, could be some freak nasty. I'm gonna take this chance to read some more super chats from Nova. Nova sent us some more Bible verses, such as a woman should learn in quietness and full submission. I do not permit a woman to teach or to assume authority over a man. And women should remain silent in the churches. They are not allowed to speak, but must be in submission, as the law says. Just a couple of examples of Paul
Sorry,
being
I'm well versed on my New Testament.
misogynistic.
Could I reply to that one?
Sure, if you want to just say, well, that's like Paul's interpretation.
Oh no. Paul's talking strictly about church authority in this sense, and at the church he is writing to, they're Athenites, so that these women were, he also talks about covering up your hair in like previous verses on that, and so he's writing to these women that are loud, boastful, and in Paul's opinion, because he is a
You're not making it sound less sexist.
I'm not. Well, sorry.
Well, the women were like really loud and annoying, so of course Paul said that they should shut up and they shouldn't have any authority over men.
Yeah. Okay. I guess you're. No. I'm sorry. I'm saying it like wrong. It's more so like in church. It's a whole entire different thing. Church is mass. Church is worship. Church isn't worshiping your hair out and telling the Jewish Pharisees that they're reading it wrong. You know what I mean? Like, bruh, this guy kind of knows his stuff. You kind of got to listen to him. You kind of have to obey church authority.
Yeah, but this is clear misogyny because he says specifically that women should not have authority over men in the church.
Yeah, in the church.
That's still misogynistic, my friend.
Okay, yeah, I guess it kind of is. Yeah, you got a point. Well, I don't know. The way I see it is like it's in the church. You know what I mean? The church is a whole different like thing. I don't know.
So if I were to, yes.
I like the color. It's good.
Thanks. Yeah, that's why I choose it. But if you were to replace like anything there, like if you were to say like in the workplace, like women are not to have authority over men in the workplace, is that misogynistic?
Yes, but come on, that's the workplace. That's not church. I'm sorry, but like
But how does it make it not misogynistic for it to be church?
It is kinda. Yeah, you're right.
Not just
okay,
kinda,
I'll
Rob.
concede. That is.
Yeah.
I'll concede that is a little misogynistic. Yes.
So, I understand that you say you're like a Christian-leaning theist, but as far as Christianity tonight, we've seen that God doesn't really punish rape; He punishes property crimes against men who own women. We've seen that Paul says outwardly misogynistic things about women not having authority over men. We've seen an example.
What does Christ say?
Well,
Christ says beautiful stuff.
So you can argue that some of the things that Christ said are nice in a vacuum, but again, this is the same God that told them to take those Midianite girls as war brides.
Yeah, I guess I'll look more into my Hebrew scripture. I haven't had to dig deep into that. I'm way more New Testament.
It's not gonna change anything.
Yeah, I don't think it is either. But then I don't know. Where do you lean to? Like, are you completely atheist?
I'm an agnostic atheist.
Agnostic atheist. Okay. Do you believe in do you lean to any theology at all?
No.
Really? So do you feel like you have spiritual needs or anything?
Nope.
Very cool. Do you feel, I don't know, that you ever do mean things or bad things?
I try not to. Sometimes I do.
It's real. Sometimes I eat McDonald's.
I wouldn't say that's mean.
Well, I mean, they support Israel and stuff. I don't know. That's a whole different topic.
Based, I guess.
What do you support them?
No, I just most people who come up here and are theists don't condemn the actions of Israel. So.
Oh my, really? Wow, you got some brain slopped ones up here.
I mean, did you miss the guy earlier who said that there's a formula for sitting down in your chair?
I came in right at the end of that. I can't lie. I was wondering, like, what did they talk? Who are they talking
Yeah, he's
about?
like not even top 5 worst callers I've
Wow.
had.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Jeez.
My number one video is a guy who I asked him how many sides a square has, and he says 4, sometimes 8 or 12. And I was like, a square can have 8 sides? And he goes, yeah, if you throw it up in the air.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I didn't know that's how you do that.
Yeah. So Rob, how are you feeling about Christianity at this point? Has this conversation like changed the way that you view it in any way?
Partially, 100%. This was a very productive conversation. I'd say, I don't know. It just makes me question the world more, for sure. I still think I'm gonna follow like the moral model of Jesus. You know what I mean? Even if it is like a fake wacko story. I don't know.
What I think though is most of the stuff that Jesus says you probably already believe. So reading it just cements that for you. Like you seem like a good and moral person. I don't think you need Jesus to tell you to love your neighbor.
Well, I think it's like more strict than that though, because people don't understand what loving your neighbor looks like, and for that, I feel like I need a little more guidance. You know what I mean? Because like, you can't go to heaven if you don't forgive people. Did you know that?
Well, I
That's
don't believe
intense.
heaven exists, so I'm
Yeah,
not too
okay,
worried
yeah,
about
you're
that.
right. Yeah. Well, that's another point you could bring up. That I don't know to your Christian debaters that if you don't forgive everyone, that you will not enter the kingdom of heaven. I don't know. It's an intense theology. I'll give you that for sure. I just think it's such an important book. I feel like we should all like, I don't know, at least come to appreciate it somewhat.
Well, in Jude, it does specifically say that Jesus was the one who destroyed the non-believers coming out of Egypt. It credits Jesus for slaying a bunch of people in the Old Testament specifically.
Really? What does it say? The angel of the Lord?
No, it says it was Jesus. I'll pull it up. It's in Jude.
Well, sorry. Does it say the Messiah?
It says
Jesus wasn't like strictly mentioned in the Old Testament.
Well, this is Jude is in the New Testament.
Oh, what?
It says, "Now I
that's
desire
interesting.
to remind you, though you are fully informed." Sorry, this is Jude 1:5. Once and for all, that Jesus, who saved a people out of the land of Egypt, afterwards destroyed those who did not believe.
Well, I don't know. Those people were doing disgusting things too. I don't know. It's just hard for me to, like, I'm not saying everyone should be killed and blah blah blah, but I don't know. When you take into account like what Jesus went through, I'm like,
I don't think
know,
there's sufficient historical evidence for it.
What the Egyptian stuff? What are you talking about?
No, like what Jesus supposedly went through.
You don't think there's historical evidence?
I don't think there's sufficient historical evidence for it. No.
Okay. That's interesting. I don't know. How much sources would you need? Do you think? Like, because I know there's one that's like, it's a Roman historian, and he brings it up. Like, would that be valid for you?
So the historians, most people will bring up like Tacitus and Josephus. Tacitus never mentions Jesus by name, and also was not Christian. Tacitus simply mentions that there is a group that calls themselves Christians and believe in a figure known as Christus or Christ. And he says that they are like a source of depravity in Rome. He like condemns them big time.
So do you think that like just spawned out of nowhere, or do you believe that there's a reason?
Well, I want to continue on this particular point because again, this is not someone who supposedly witnessed the life of Jesus. This is not someone who supposedly witnessed the resurrection.
But
this
he
is
was
someone.
a Christian.
Tacitus was not.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that makes him more citable because
but
he has no reason. He is strictly a historian.
Right, but all he acknowledges is there are people who call themselves Christian. That
and
is not
follow a figure named Christ, right?
Sure, but there are people who believe in a lot of religions and follow a lot of different religious figures. That doesn't make those religious figures real.
All
There,
right, I guess
if there
that's
are
real.
if there are pagans who have altars to Dionysus, does that mean Dionysus is real?
I'm just saying that you can't First of all, you can't completely negate the New Testament as historical documents. Like, I think that's like a fairly well known fact. And what
I would disagree.
I don't know. Do you think that group of people just came out of nowhere and started worshiping a random guy named Christ? that
Well,
got
again,
crucified?
every religion started somehow. So you're just
Hmm.
questioning how the process of starting a religion occurs. It's happened many times, and I don't think you would say that about any other religion. That like, oh, just because these people believe in a certain figure, that must mean that their religion is true. Or how else would the religion get started? Because every religion had to have had a start, and if you don't believe in all of those, then the fact that a religion starts is not evidence that it's true.
I guess it's just the. Do you know the history behind the New Testament?
Yeah. I was a Christian until I was 17.
Really?
I went to
That's spicy.
I went to religious preschool, elementary school, middle school, and high school. Had mandatory Bible classes every day of the school week. Went to
Lord.
church multiple times a week. Was in like the church choir and praise band. Went on every camp
Wow.
and mission trip I could. I was fully bought into it.
You were a Jesus lover?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I was
Oh,
also
yeah.
riddled with guilt that had been instilled in me from a very early age. It's really
Guilt
sad to
about,
look back on.
Like what in particular? I mean, you don't have to get deep into it. But I
Oh,
don't know,
just
I'm curious.
no. That's the thing. Over really stupid shit, right? Like because I was told that I was like inherently sinful and deserving of hell. Every tiny thing that I did, I would spend months, if not years, praying to God, asking for forgiveness. Like I broke a classmate's pen once, and it was like close to a year. Every night I would pray for forgiveness for that.
Wow. Wow. I'm sorry.
And that's not, and it's difficult bringing those things up because then people are like, oh, you just got church hurt. But it's like, no, that's kind of a central belief in Christianity, that we are inherently sinful and that we need to be saved. So it's very, very easy then to tell impressionable children that everything they do wrong makes them worthy of damnation, and that they only receive grace because they beg God for forgiveness. That's not a super healthy mindset for kids to have. So it's not, it goes beyond just like, oh, church hurt, you know?
Yeah, for sure. There's like a deep, I don't know, psychology behind that even. That's
It's also just a
intense.
tactic that I see frequently. Like I recently went back and watched sermons from the church that I grew up attending, and I saw that same message being hammered home, that like we are, inherently sinful and filthy, and without Jesus, like we are unworthy of love, unworthy of forgiveness, we deserve eternal torment. Just the fact that that's still being preached from the pulpit now 15 years later, that shows a pattern.
Did you ever feel, I don't know, like Christian love? I don't know if you whatever you call
I mean, I definitely thought I did, and there's a lot of community in a church. I mean, there are a lot of people who are specifically in church for that sense of community, because people will often, put their necks out for people that they are a part of a church community with. But the flip side of that is they will also shun people if they feel that they've wronged the church in some way. So I definitely felt like there are times where it's like, oh, like this is such sweet Christian love, but looking back, it was just people being nice because we were part of a community. There was nothing inherently Christian about it.
Yes, I see that a lot in churches. I've been to multiple, and it's just like it kind of makes me uncomfortable sometimes when like I can just tell these people are just being fake nice. Like I
Oh,
don't know,
yeah.
not it for me. I don't know, but what made the switch then?
So the biggest one was just leaving my hometown. I grew up in an environment that was very, very Christian, very conservative. You didn't really meet anyone who wasn't those things. So once I wasn't in a religious school anymore, once I wasn't in a very conservative town anymore, and I was exposed to more worldviews than the one that I had been taught was the absolute truth, then I started investigating my beliefs a little more. I started looking into the parts of the Bible that they kind of avoided preaching about. You know, we weren't exactly in the pews listening to, and then they took the Midianites as sex slaves.
Yeah.
So I started looking into those parts of the Bible more, investigating my faith more, and just the more I read the Bible itself, and the more I read about the Bible, the less it held up for me.
Real. That's a very honest way of leaving Christianity, I believe.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, Rob.
Yeah, of course. What? Sorry, what was your name? Is Robot?
Robot Goat. You can also call me T, whichever one, whatever floats your
T.
boat.
That's fire. That's fire. You look like a T.
Thank you.
I don't know. Like you just look like a I don't know. I don't know what I'm getting at with that. I don't know.
Incredible.
Well, I guess thanks for showing me some Bible verses.
All right. Well, yeah. You have a good rest of your evening, Rob.
Yeah, you too.
Not y'all all saying tee in chat. That was a surprisingly good conversation. Appreciate that. All right. Next up, we have Will. Let's see. Will, you able to hear me?
Yes, I am.
All right. Hello, Will. I have here that you are a Christian. Is that correct?
Yes.
Any particular denomination or just store brand?
I would prefer not to say.
Prefer not to say. Interesting. Well, we might be able to tell based on your beliefs. So
No, I'm not going to get that far. Thanks.
not gonna get that far. That's not very optimistic, Will. Well, why?
No, I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to say I'm not going to get far enough into the conversation to really understand. I'm just saying I don't think it's important enough for me to answer anything that is going to say, oh, I'm Lutheran or Catholic or Baptist or anything like that. Before.
Okay. I mean,
really
you did
have,
just
I can really
you
make an
did
argument.
just spend a lot more time explaining why it would be a waste of time to talk about it rather than just saying it. But I guess I do kind of get where you're coming from. So maybe you can answer, why is God an a-hole?
Okay, I was confused. I was calling in to say the opposite. That to say he is an a-hole would be like completely missing what it means for God to exist.
Okay, what does it mean for God to exist?
So, okay. To say God is an a-hole would be to assume that he has a moral standard that is on the same level as a human moral standard. It would essentially be like saying, oh, a king's not allowed to put taxes on things because he's just another person like the rest, like other peasants, like it, or gentry, or anyone who lives in his kingdom.
So a peasant doesn't have the right to say, hey, that law that the king made is not good?
No, but he doesn't have the right. He has the right to say it's not good, but he does not have the right to say the king is no longer the king to me. He's no longer the person that he is, simply because I don't like a rule he said.
Okay, so me criticizing God by saying he's an asshole, there's nothing that stops me from doing that.
Yeah, there isn't. And if God really was trying to be, then he would not let you. The fact that you have a free will would completely negate any possibility of that.
Gotcha. So, do you want to talk about some things in Scripture, my basis for why I think God is an a-hole?
Go ahead.
Yeah, let's start with one that I was kind of discussing with the last caller. So in Numbers 31, God specifically commands them to leave the Midianite virgin girls alive to take
My
them for
goodness.
themselves.
I'm sorry. Browser was being weird. One second. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, in Numbers 31, God specifically commands the Israelites to leave the virgin Midianite girls alive to take for themselves.
Okay.
This corresponds to a passage in Deuteronomy 21 where God details how to handle the taking of war brides. That if you see a beautiful woman among war captives, you can bring her to your house for 30 days. You cut her hair, pare her nails, allow her to grieve for a month for the loss of her family, and then you can have sex with her and she becomes your wife. So I would say the a-hole move here is telling the Israelite men to take the virgin Midianite girls, who likely would have been 16 or under, given the fact that marriage age was usually 12 and a half to 16, and have sex with them against their will.
Okay. First off, are you aware at all of the culture of the time?
Yeah. That's why I said that the marriage age was typically 12 to 16.
Yeah. Okay. So you are aware that women were treated as property by literally everyone.
Yeah, but if God were the perfect moral standard, he would know that you shouldn't do that.
Yes, he knows that you shouldn't. He also knows that people are going to be stupid.
But why would he
Incredibly
specifically make a
stupid.
law allowing you to treat women as property? Or telling them to treat women as property, rather, saying, hey, if you see a beautiful woman, take her to be your wife.
Okay.
Why
so,
have that
so
be a law
where,
at
where
all?
where does it say take her to be your wife?
Deuteronomy 21.
Like specifically, like
I believe it
the
starts in
words
verse
take her to be your wife.
10. Yeah, it says, you may go into her and she shall be your wife.
Okay. Does it say take her to be your wife?
I'll read the full passage to you. Because it doesn't say those words in that order. It says, you may go into her, which is
You may.
have sex with her.
Wait. It's saying may. It's saying that it is allowed, not saying that you should do it, not saying that it is something that is good, saying that essentially he doesn't
Deuteronomy
wish to
21,
stop.
starting in verse 10. When you go out to war against your enemies, and the Lord your God hands them over to you, and you take them captive, suppose you see among the captives a beautiful woman whom you desire and want to marry, and so you bring her home to your house. She shall shave her head, pare her nails, discard her captive's garb, and remain in your house a full month mourning for her father and mother. After that, you may go into her and be her husband, and she shall be your wife. But if you are not satisfied with her, you shall let her go free, and certainly not sell her for money. You must not treat her as a slave, since you have dishonored her.
Okay. But you said that he told them to take them back. He told them to, not he told them that they could. He
Yeah,
told them
so it
to
says,
take.
so you bring her home to your house. She shall
Yeah,
shave her
no,
head, pare her
but
nails, discard her captive's garb, and remain in your house a full month mourning. After that, you may go into her and be her husband, and she shall be your wife. So why
yeah,
not
but
say,
it's
hey,
not.
don't do that? Why give them instructions on how to do that?
So okay, you're also aware in I forget if it's Numbers or Deuteronomy, but you're aware of the part in Numbers and Deuteronomy where it's also talking about how you're supposed to treat slaves and when someone can be your slave, right?
Which passage are you referring to?
I do not remember what specifically, but it's the chapter where um, Moses is talking about, and remember, it is Moses writing most of these. Moses is talking about the fact that you are not that when you're entering the promised land, which became Israel, uh, you are not supposed to enslave any um, Israelite, and if you do, to release them on the seventh year. And then it also talks about a lot of what when you're allowed to enslave someone and what you were supposed to do with those slaves.
Yeah, so that those rules that you're talking about only specifically are applied to other Israelites. In Leviticus 25:44 through 46, there's detailed instructions on taking foreign slaves, how you don't have to let those go free, and how they are your property that you can pass along to your children as inheritance.
Yeah. So you're aware of this, right? So would you say that, like, generally speaking, Christians nowadays, people nowadays, and specifically the way we use slaves nowadays, would you say that that sort of thing was, sorry, first off, do you think slaves back then were the same as slaves like in the 1900s?
The foreign slaves, yes.
The foreign slaves?
Yes.
Okay, you're an idiot and you know nothing about history. Goodbye.
Well, Will. That was definitely the behavior of someone who's doing very well in a debate. But just since I'm an idiot who knows nothing about history, there's two separate words to describe the types of slavery that we see in the Bible. So specifically, the Israelites who were kept as indentured servants, where the men were allowed to be set free after the certain amount of years or the year of Jubilee, they were referred to as sahir. Whereas the chattel slaves who came from foreign nations and were not to be set free were referred to as eved. Those specific slaves, those are the ones that have regulations such as the ones found in Exodus 21 that say you're allowed to beat your slaves with a rod as long as they don't immediately die as a result. So if they recover within a day or two, there is no punishment, for the slave is the owner's property. Some translations say that the slave is the owner's money. The word chattel, in reference to chattel slavery, comes from capital, or money. So because those slaves were seen as the money or the property of their owners, yes, that is chattel slavery, like we saw with the Atlantic slave trade in pre-Civil War United States. So it's very nice of you to say that I know nothing about history and that I'm an idiot and to rage quit like that. But I think it's clear to everybody else that you ran because you got scared and couldn't keep up with the conversation. Have an evening. Thank you for the roses, Toad Boy. Very kind of you. Collar is punching a wall and crying in his pillow now. Oh no! I will also note that apparently Will did give my call screener a little bit of trouble about pronouns. And if you are interested in being a call screener, check out the same link. I am going to be doing a monthly drawing where every time you do a shift as a call screener, you get an entry to win something that I will crochet you by hand from a list of options. So go ahead and check those out. See if that interests you, and or join the Discord, and I'll go ahead and I'll do... Oh shit, Justin Raid? Is that true? Well, I appreciate that. Thank y'all. Good to see you. Well, that's great. I was just about to do a follow call, so hey, if you're new here, throw a follow my way. That goes for you over on YouTube too, because we have more people than usual over on the tubes. So welcome in, everybody. I hope you're all having a great evening. We just had a caller rage quit. So, shit happens. Hey there, welcome in, how's it going?
What's going on?
Hey there, can I get your name, age, and pronouns?
I'm Nick. I didn't decide what gender I am, so it's not up to me to determine what my pronouns are.
Oh, so you're gonna ignore two of my questions. Interesting. You above 18?
What's your second question? Yeah,
Age?
I'm 28.
Alright. And yeah, so if chat were going to refer to you, would they call you a he, a she, a they, something else?
Whatever they prefer. I didn't decide my gender when I was born, so it's not up to me to decide it now.
Uh, yeah, so I would say that your sex observed at birth is going to be different from your gender identity. Gender identity is explicitly self-identification, so it would be based off of your own perception of your gender.
Well, I don't need to explain what I am. I think other people can do that just fine. Unless
Sure, I'm just trying to
people
be
don't have the
respectful
cognitive
because
ability.
I'm just trying to be respectful because sometimes people they have different pronouns than what you would expect, and I want to make sure that they're being referred to in a respectful way. So it's just to try to make sure that my chat can be respectful toward you.
Well, if I was anything but a guy, I think it would be rude to expect any of you to believe that.
So you're saying you are a guy.
Yes.
Okay.
According to what I've been told.
Okay, and as a guy, what pronouns would you prefer we use for you?
What is a pronoun? I'm a human that exists.
Okay, so pronoun, you ever heard of Schoolhouse Rock?
Yeah.
Okay, well there's a lovely little video that you can watch.
What is a pronoun in terms of a human being? How can a human being be
Yeah,
determined
so
by one
pronouns are made to take the place of a noun, because saying those nouns over and over can really bring you down. So
I
basically,
remember that.
yeah, well, good, then you should already know. So we use like personal pronouns like he, she, they, etc. To be in reference to people without having to say their names over and over and over.
But that's
So
up to you guys to determine. That's not up
no,
to me.
that's not how that works. So again,
That is how it works.
gender is going to be it's gender is going to be based off of like self-identification. So
But I
you've
don't get to
identified your
identify myself.
you already have. You've said you're a guy.
Well, yeah, I accept that that's what I am because that's what society has claimed.
Okay,
for my
so
traits to be.
so if everyone in here decides that you are a woman, does that make you a woman?
If that's what they want me to be.
Okay,
It's
well,
not up
I
to me
saw
to
a lot of
determine.
people in chat already calling you she, her. So
That's fine.
congratulations on your transition.
I'm not offended.
So I will go ahead and I'll put you down as she, her, and I expect that everyone respects her pronouns. So Nick, that was such an auspicious start. What is your
Okay.
religion or lack thereof?
So I consider myself a Muslim by definition, but not exactly by practice.
Okay, so like you haven't married a 9-year-old yet, is what you're saying?
I don't know if I'll be married at any time.
Oh, well, hey, if it's that or a 9-year-old, you're making the right choice.
But I don't understand why that is the only thing that people know about Islam. Like, that's the only thing.
It's like a pretty bad one though, right? If like the main guy
Who
is
knows
like
if it's
a
even true or not? That's in the
pedophile.
Hadith. That's not even in the Quran. I've only read the Quran.
Gotcha. So what about 434? Thoughts on that one?
What do you mean 434?
You know, the way you're supposed to handle a contentious woman.
I am not sure what you're referring to.
Yeah, sure. I'll pull it up so I'm not misquoting.
I've read more of the Bible than the Quran, but I study both. I have one in front of me, actually.
So yeah, Quran 434, men are in charge of women by right of what Allah has given one over the other, and what they spend for maintenance from their wealth. So righteous women are devoutly obedient, guarding in their husband's absence what Allah would have them guard. But those wives from whom you fear arrogance, first advise them, then if they persist, forsake them in bed, and finally strike them. But if they obey you once more, seek no means against them. Indeed, Allah is ever exalted and grand.
Okay.
Thoughts on that?
I mean, when you see the way that Muslim people live, it sort of makes sense.
Did what you just said, did that sound like a good argument to you?
I mean, it's not something I can deny.
So, do you condemn this verse?
I mean, I would never put my hands on a woman. But
So do you condemn this verse?
I wouldn't say I condemn it. I would say that I don't have a full understanding of it.
What other understanding would you need besides that it explicitly says to strike a woman?
Well, like I said, I'm a Muslim by definition, not by practice. And that means Muslim means to submit. I have fully submitted myself to the Almighty, to the Creator.
And the creator that you worship says it's okay to strike women?
I guess.
Or, in fact, tells you to strike a woman under these circumstances?
Well, I mean, there's context to it. As far as I know, I haven't
Well,
read
you
that.
didn't seem aware of it, yeah, so how can you say it's context if you haven't read it?
I don't know. Like I said, I've read more of the Bible than the Quran.
So why do you consider yourself a Muslim if you've read more of the Bible and you don't necessarily agree with the Quran?
The way that Muslims consider Jesus, Abraham, and Moses Muslims. Like, Islam didn't exist, but they were fully submitted to the Father. And that's what I have done. I've fully submitted myself.
I'm going to repeat my
God's
question. So why do you consider yourself a Muslim if you've read more of the Bible and don't necessarily agree with the Quran? What Muslim by definition would be one who follows the religion of Islam.
But the modern religion of Islam is based on the Hadith, and there's a lot of things in there that I disagree with. The Quran, I haven't found anything that I've read that I disagree with in the Quran yet.
Well, I just read you something. Do you disagree with it?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know the context.
What context would make it okay to strike a woman?
If it explains the reason that women should be obedient to their man.
Yeah, it did explain the reason, and it just said because Allah has given that authority to men over women.
Just as it says, God has given our parents authority over us when we're children.
Yeah, and you don't see how that would be really infantilizing to women to say that the relationship between a parent and child is the same between a husband and wife?
I mean, it's a hard line.
It's a hard line?
I don't know. I'd have to know, the full context of it to be able to speak on it properly. Like, that particular verse, I don't know enough about it, so
it very clearly states that you should correct the woman and then forsake her from your bed, or some say make her sleep outside of your not allow her to sleep in the bed with you, and then strike her.
If they do what?
If they are being arrogant and disobeying. Yeah, it says,
Well,
I'll read it again.
I would never.
But those wives from whom you fear arrogance, first advise them, then if they persist, forsake them in bed, and finally strike them. But if they obey you once more, seek no means against them.
I don't know exactly what that means.
Well, that means
if
if she starts listening to you again, if she stops disobeying you, then you don't have to seek any further discipline against her, is what it's saying. It very clearly allows people to hit their wives if they think that they are being arrogant or disobedient.
I mean, it's somewhat understandable. I wouldn't. I would just leave the woman. But that's the modern day.
It's
back in the old day,
understandable.
you couldn't just leave a woman. Yeah.
Again, you're saying this is your almighty creator. So your almighty creator is advising you to hit women.
So when it comes to, let's say, the women I've dated, they have these random intentions that lead them to completely disrespecting anything that we've attempted to build. And
what the fuck does that mean?
It means that women can be irrational. They can be...
Oh, so you're just misogynistic. That's why you won't you won't condemn this verse because you're misogynistic.
I'm just speaking from reality. You're making my personal experience.
You're making disgusting generalizations about women, based off of perceived negative experiences you've had in your personal life, and that's why you won't condemn violence against them.
Everything that you've done was perfectly within your intention of what was good.
No, would you say that everything you have done is perfectly within your intention of what is good?
Not everything, but as of today, yes.
Okay, so your fully good intention is to condone hitting women.
No,
Well, you've
wouldn't
done
s-
that.
I wouldn't say so. I don't believe anybody like needs to be hit.
Well, that's what you've been doing. You've been condoning hitting women by defending this verse.
Well, I don't put my hands on anybody because I would really hurt somebody if I did.
Yeah,
Like,
so
I'm a really
condoning
good
something
person.
doesn't mean you participate in the action yourself.
I mean, I don't like it when other people do, so I wouldn't condone it. No.
Okay, so do you condemn that this verse says to strike a woman?
I can't say if I do or not.
And therein lies the problem, Nick. That
But
you're
I would condemn,
incapable you're
like, if I
incapable of
didn't know the
condemning.
context of someone's relationship and I saw them hurting their wife, yeah, I would definitely.
I would say
get
there's
involved.
no context in which it's okay to intentionally like strike your wife. If it is like self-defense, that is not striking your wife, that is defending yourself. But I would say that I cannot see any circumstance in which striking your wife is a good thing.
It's hard to say.
It's hard to say?
It is hard to say.
Why?
I wouldn't, but like for other people, I don't know. It's hard to say because
It's really not, Nick. For most people, it's not hard to say that you shouldn't hit your wife.
Eve is the one who led Adam to eat the fruit. So men sin based on what
Who
they're
led
doing
Eve
for
to eat the
women,
fruit?
or
Who led Eve to eat the fruit?
the devil,
Ah,
who's not specified, who's not a specified gender. I mean, the Baphomet is the representation of a hermaphrodite.
don't use that word, please.
Sorry. That's just the actual physical representation of the Baphomet.
Yeah, Baphomet is not the same as Lucifer.
Well, I mean, it's kind of the same. And the image
No.
of Jesus is actually, never mind.
They're
I'm not gonna get
different
into that.
beings.
But
Like
I'm-
Baphomet is the goat-headed one. That's kind of how I know that.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm not a normal religious person. I don't follow any doctrine. I don't follow any exact theology. I know that God exists, and the words in the books confirm what I've already found to be true.
That's called confirmation bias, Nick.
No, it's called personal experience, and
No, it is called confirmation bias. When you're like, well, I read these things and I already know these things to be true, therefore this book must be right. That is, in fact, confirmation bias. But I agree that you're not a normal theist. Most normal theists, devout as they might be, would still condemn beating a wife. So, yeah, you got me there. You're not a normal
well, that's
theist.
because I think they don't have the full understanding of what it says either.
Oh,
And when
yeah,
they hear
so...
that verse by itself, they're like, yeah, that's bad. Because that when you hear that, it causes you to think
Yeah,
yourself.
I'm not even talking about the verse. I'm just saying, like, in general, they would usually say, like, hey, there's no circumstance where it's okay to strike your wife. But you
Yeah,
said
but if
it's
they're
tough to
true
say.
theists, then they would not deny it. They would not. They would confirm it no matter what.
Yeah, and that's part of the problem, right?
I would say that's part of the problem, but it's also because of misinterpretation, where people think they can do it for any reason they see fit.
I
And
would say
maybe
that
there's a
there's
specific
no
reason.
appropriate reason.
Well, maybe there is,
Like what?
but I'm not the one to say.
You're
But we have the
defending
ability.
you're defending hitting women because there might be a reason why it's okay, but you can't come up with a reason why.
Like I said, I wouldn't. I would be against it if I saw it. But it's not for me to speak on what the words say.
Condemn?
Yeah, I'm not
Striking,
gonna condemn something
condemn.
written within the book if I don't know the full
I'm not.
context.
I'm just saying generally. Can you condemn? Like, if you believe this is out of context and it doesn't actually mean you can strike your wife, then you don't have to say that this is pertaining to the verse. Condemn the act of striking your wife.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. What?
Yeah, I would condemn that.
You would condemn what?
the act of striking your wife. Like,
It's
I've
just
been struck
you're
by
not
a woman,
saying
and
it.
I've been struck and didn't strike back because I'm against that. So I wouldn't do it because I would cause serious physical damage. So I would never do that.
Okay.
But that's because I have empathy, and a lot of people don't. A lot of people are born with more aggression.
Right. Nick, I gotta say, I don't often use the phrase like getting the ick, but you can't spell Nick without ick. And I'll tell you, it is not a misnomer for you.
Well, I mean, atheists a lot of the times have a problem with me, but people who are on the fence,
Maybe
they
it's the
hear
fact
what I
that you
say
like
and they're like,
called
"Oh,
women
yeah,
irrational, and
yes,
compared the
exactly."
relationship between a husband and wife to a parent-child relationship. Um, maybe it's the fact that you keep saying, well, maybe there's a context to the verse where it makes it okay where it says to hit your wife. Those are probably the things that atheists don't like, because generally atheists try to not be misogynistic pieces of shit.
So when it came to Jesus, he taught Mary a completely separate doctrine from all of his followers because he knew they couldn't handle it. And she had to be the one to calm the followers down after his unaliving because she was the only one mentally strong enough to handle it. And she was the only one with the mental fortitude to break down what actually happened and why. And she was his first real disciple because he knew that she had the strength to do it. So I don't think it's woman or men dependent on what we do. I think that abuse is bad, that's for sure. But I think men and women are both completely capable of being amazing beings. But I think we're all flawed.
Yeah, but why did you single out women as being irrational and compare the relationship between a husband and wife to the relationship between a parent and child?
Well, because in a relationship, if they are wanting to have or live in symbiosis, whatever you want to call it, then a majority of men are willing to sacrifice a lot of things to make that happen, and a lot of women aren't.
Like what?
But, huh?
Like what?
Like, women don't want to get rid of their men friends, for example, whenever they get into a relationship. And having
Nick.
friends that are men is wrong in a relationship.
Nick.
If I'm in a relationship, I'm not going to be friends with any women. That's
Nick.
for sure, because there's too many variables in between.
Nick.
What? You call yourself robot. I don't even know what to call you back.
I didn't call me robot goat. It's just, that's really gross. You don't get to determine who your partner's friends are. You should trust your partner that they're not going to do anything to betray your relationship. The fact that you don't seem to trust the fact that you don't seem to trust yourself with having woman friends is not great.
You shouldn't. You shouldn't.
You shouldn't trust yourself to have woman friends.
Yes. You shouldn't trust your own flesh and the desires that are present.
So you're just saying you can't trust yourself not to cheat on your partners.
You can't trust any physical being. Except dogs.
So you're saying you can't trust yourself not to cheat on your partner.
Basically.
That is definitely more of a reflection on you.
Well, I'd say if the majority of people were put in the right position, they would make that wrong decision.
No. I would say no. That's not the case. I would say the fact that you would is bad. 'Cause like I'm a pansexual person. I have friends of all genders and I'm attracted to a multitude of genders. So I guess I'm just fucked, right?
How can you even have a relationship with, like, I can't even comprehend that. How could you have a relationship between two of the same gender? It just doesn't compute within me. And it's not to say it's
Oh
not possible.
no, Nick, tell me I'm not the
But it's
person who has to
purely
introduce
physical.
you to the concept of lesbians.
Well, it's purely physical. There's no biological benefit from it. So to me, it's pointless.
Biological benefit? Do you see relationships as just a way to make babies?
No, I see them as a way to connect with each other and to experience what true feelings and emotions are like.
Okay,
And to be
there's
tested.
nothing that says that same-sex relationships can't have that.
I mean, they can, but the emotions, if they're on the same wavelength, there's only, like, how can you learn from somebody who's almost just like you?
That's assuming that all people who share a gender identity are, like, almost the same.
Well, a lot of us men have very, very, very similar desires. So, for example, if men are with men,
You
they
have
don't
this
advance.
you have this very strict outlook on gender. And it makes sense why you were so, I don't know,
It's because I know we
such a
didn't choose them. We
contrarian.
didn't decide them. They were given to us, and we have differences.
So you're talking about biological sex. You're not talking about gender.
No, I guess I don't know what gender is.
Yeah. So gender is going to be based off of your observations of how certain people function in society. So we come up with these, like, mental blueprints of things. And so if we have these, like, these mental blueprints are referred to as, like, schema. So we develop these schema on the way that we see people of certain sexes. Now, those people can meet those expectations even if they don't align with that particular sex. So someone who is a woman, they just have a gender identity that aligns with their schema on the female sex.
Okay.
That does not necessarily mean that their sex observed at birth is female.
But it means that they decided what they want to be when they didn't decide to be here.
It's not really a decision.
It is a decision.
No.
Because you're literally claiming that you're something that you didn't decide. Like, we're put in these bodies. We don't get to choose our bodies.
And I'm not saying that they're claiming they to be of a different sex. They have a gender identity that is not congruent with their observed sex at birth.
Okay, but I don't get to decide what other people see me as.
You're not dictating what other people see you as. You're expressing to people what you see yourself as.
And
I can't
to
make
see
you
and believe that you are that.
I can't make you refer to me a certain way. Like, you can see there, I use they, them pronouns. I can't force you to use those to refer to me, but those are my pronouns, regardless of whether or not you respect them. It's just a
You
matter of
chose
whether or
them.
not you're... My pronouns?
Yeah.
Sure, you can
Like,
say I
other
chose my
people are
pronouns,
like,
but I
"You're a
didn't
they."
choose to be non-binary.
Well, other
I-
people didn't say, "Oh, you're they." You're
Yeah,
not a-
I
you're not a
found
girl,
out
you're not a
I was
guy.
non-binary.
But you found
Did
that
you
out.
did
I
you
found out that
choose
I'm
to
a
be
guy.
are you straight? I'm assuming yes, based on what you said so
Yes.
far. Did you choose to be straight, or did you just
No,
know that you were straight?
no, I'm just attracted to women. Like, that's just the reality.
Right. So I just discovered that I am non-binary. That's just my reality. I didn't choose to be those things. It just it's what comports best with my view of myself.
But I would never consider myself straight. I wouldn't have to give it a title. I'm just into this. Why does it have to be?
Oh, bye, Nick.
One or
You've
the
been
other.
voted off the island. Thank you to Johnny Tripp for paying to kick Nick, and also thank you to Maxon earlier for sending a donation on Cash App to say God is a butthole, but also fake. I appreciate that. And I also missed getting out to read a super chat from Miss Katza, who said, "Caller, do you know what this means?" Host, it explains exactly what it means. Caller, are you aware of this? Nice try, kiddo. Yeah, that was in reference to our guest before, who was asking me if I was, like, aware of certain cultural practices. Yeah, that's something. It's always fun when people it's men. Why am I when men try to explain things to me that I've already explained or shown to have knowledge of. But yeah, that's the end of our time with Nick there. I know everyone is just uncontrollably sobbing at the loss of that. Ugh. Yeah, icky Nicky. That's a good way of putting it. Doesn't matter says, babe, I think you might have just made me find out I'm non-binary. We got another one. Woo! In all seriousness, hey, if that's the case, congratulations and welcome to the club. It took me a while to put that label on things for myself. So if that's something you found out about yourself tonight, that's awesome. Where are we at? Let's see. We don't have anyone in the screening, and we don't have anyone in queue, so I think I'm gonna wrap up this stream for now. So, one last follow call. If you're not subbed or following on TikTok, you should do those things. If you want to be a part of the Discord or look at being a call screener to enter the raffle for a handmade crochet piece by me, go to that right there. It is in the description on YouTube, and it is in my bio on TikTok. Do I have anything else to plug? Discord, TikTok, YouTube. Those are the ones that I can think of. We are going to go over and give my good buddy Mezzo a hello. We are going to check in on Mezzo. And, what are we going to ask Mezzo? It's got to be something... Ooh, I want you guys to tell me, like, your best formula. If you were here earlier, we had a guy who said there's a formula for everything. So just come up with a formula for something, and put it in chat. Let him know that I sent you that way, okay? I love having a little bit of mystique. So we're gonna head over to Mezzo. I will see you all later. Possibly tomorrow night. Bye!